PGA Tour coming back to the mainland this week for the American Express Championship. And so do we here at Cash Out with the Coaches, your show of record in the world of golf betting, presented by the powerful Sports Pub Media. And we are fired up and ready to go. I am your host, the coach, and my nemesis, my competition, one of the top coaches in America, Mr. Travis Fulton. Travis, are you ready for the
coach?
week?
How are you? Hey, it felt good
great
to cash a ticket last week. I thought I was going to be just rolling in the dough. If I could have just got one more out of my boy, Joaquin Neiman, who just hit the ball terrible on Sunday and lost by one. But that's neither here nor there. We cashed some tickets, though. That was
we did. And that's why I took Joaquin Neiman just for a top 20, which I cashed, and also in a matchup over Abraham Answer, which I cashed. And, in fact, I cashed that on Friday. There is nothing better, Trav, than in the world of golf betting to cash your matchup ticket on Friday.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Well,
that's the best.
It was good for you.
Yeah, it's not so much for you. That's right. All right, but we're back at it because the one thing about this is we're going to have 36 straight weeks of golf. So you've got to put that in the rearview mirror, and we've got to focus on what we have in front of us. And it's a completely different tournament this week, the American Express Championship. Normally played on 3 courses out there in the Palm Springs area, but now it's going to be 2. No amateurs, all pros, 36-hole cut instead of a 54-hole cut. Educate our viewers on what kind of a player needs to what kind of a player will play well at this particular tournament. My bad.
Well, this is an interesting one. Let me start with, this will be the 3rd week in a row where we really have no rough, right? I tweeted out, I kind of miss the rough on the PGA Tour. There's no rough at Kapalua. They grew it up a little bit at the Sony, but it wasn't that penal. There's going to be no rough here in Palm in the desert. You mentioned there's only 2 courses, which I like. The 3rd course, La Quinta, they put that one out. So we're just going to be dealing with Nicholas and the stadium course. I think when you look at the type of player here, there's a lot of forced layups here because they're going to play the stadium course, which is a Pete Dye design. And when you think of Pete Dye, he's going to give you a lot to look at off the tee. There's some intimidation there, visual intimidation. But he's going to force your hand on where to hit it too. So I think, there's some holes where everybody's going to be hitting it to the same area. So distance probably is going to be mitigated a little bit here. The approach game obviously is going to be very important here as players play from the fairway, the short rough into these greens. I think putting, interesting here when you look at the putter, they're on Bermuda once again. Pretty easy greens. These are pretty easy greens to look at. They're not overly fast. We've seen from time to time players come in here, ball strike their way very well in the approach game, and then just have an incredible hot week with the putter. Putters that are guys that are not good putters, like a Jason Duffner who won here, like an Andrew Landry who's not a good putter, right? These guys have come here and have won. So you think, I got to find a great putter. I think that these greens kind of level the playing field a little bit because they're pretty easy, and they're not that fast. So I think there's a lot of names in play here. It is a pretty good field, a little bit better than what we've seen in the past. But again, you got to win in the approach game. Distance not as important here. And I think you can roll the dice a little bit more on someone who maybe you wouldn't play as a good Bermuda putter that could come in, get hot, like a King and Bradley, right? Number 1 in strokes, number 1 in approach, not a good putter. Can he have a great week on these simple greens and really maximize how good of a ball striker he is? So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited. I love watching golf on the West Coast.
Well, there's a lot of big names, to your point, that are playing this week. A lot of guys that are making their 2021 debuts. Brooks Koepka, namely, being one. Yep. Patrick Reed is back this week after skipping the Sony Open. Patrick Cantlay, your tournament host, Phil Mickelson. Real quick, funny story about last week. So I went to this tournament last year because it's like 2 hours away from me. And Phil Mickelson was the new host, right? So he wanted to make a big splash, and he wanted to make a big deal about the fact that he was in charge. He's like, I've got all these guys that I've got in my cell phone that I can get to come to the tournament. Yeah. He calls Luke Bryan and says, Luke, I want you to do a concert at the event. Luke says yes. So when I saw it on the sheet, I said, there's no way Luke Bryan is doing a concert here. He does it. The problem is tournament organizers weren't prepared for 60,000 people showing up just for the concert. It took us 3 hours to get out of the tournament to even get an Uber. I had to tip an Uber driver, get this, $150 for him to pass up on a ride that was in his app to let us in the car and drive us to the hotel. That's a true story. That's a true story. I was so angry. I don't know what would have happened this year if they would have not had COVID, if they would have done that big of a concert again, but it was crazy. But the concert was good.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah, the
Luke
concert was
Bryan, are
great.
you kidding me? And he loves golf.
Yeah.
But Phil's in the field, right? I mean, not surprising that he puts his name on this particular venue because, hey, take the driver out of your hand a little bit, get it in play, let the approach game, and have a hot putting week. That's Phil, right, in a nutshell. And of course, he did it very well in his career. So he's in the field. I like this. This is going to be a fun show, Coach, in breaking this one down because there's a lot to think about here.
There really is. So we're going to our picks coming up in just a few minutes. But this week we do have a guest, and we're very excited. When you can bring the world of comedy and golf together, it's always going to be a fun time. So we're about to welcome in one of the great comedians in the country. Travis is going to try to tell you that they're good friends. Do not believe him. But Nate Bargatze is coming up right now here on Cash Out with the Coaches. Enjoy. So pleased to welcome Nate Bargatze, a comedian. You can see him all over Netflix. His special, The Tennessee Kid, came out in 2019. He's the host of the Nate Land podcast. You can hear that every single week. Nate, I know you're a lover of golf. We're thrilled to have you. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever people are watching.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of you guys, like I said, and I'm an obsessive golfer. I've gotten it's all I think about. And especially during COVID, it's a big, it's become a big problem. But I love it. I play it all the time.
It's never a problem, Nate. It's never a problem. No, it might be an obsession. It might be an addiction, but it's not a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we always talk about in golf, and certainly Travis, being one of the top coaches in the country, always has to tell his players this, that you got to be able to let things go. Being a comedian like yourself, how does kind of comedy and golf go hand in hand?
Well, you do. You have to let stuff go. You can't have, like in comedy, I mean, you can never have your feelings hurt, and golf has to be that same way where you can't just get wrapped up. I love it because in comedy, you're by yourself. Everything's on you. If it doesn't go good, it's your fault. It's no one else's fault. And golf is the same way. If you get yourself in a situation, it's on you. It's no one else made you do that. No matter how much you think something could be unfair, or I get mad if, of course, there's too many trees. You're like, these trees are ridiculous, and but it's your fault. And so that's how I think they go together. I love just the idea of being alone, and it's just on you, and there's no one to blame.
Yeah, there's good jokes, there's bad jokes, there's there's good shots, there's bad shots. Tell us about your game. How comical is your game at this point in time? Is it to give us a feel for how you're playing?
Well, it's not as bad. I mean, I'm getting super serious. right now I'm a 4 handicap, and so yeah, I've gotten I put a putting green in my backyard. This is all I do it, especially during this COVID time, because with having nothing to do, with not touring, I mean, it was a relief for my wife that I had COVID, because you start getting like tinkering. Like I'll start being like, well, what if we should buy some land somewhere? Like, just something ridiculous that we can't even do. And I'm like, well, let's just look at it. So I've at least put all that energy towards golf. I've always had a dream to try to get to scratch. And I see how hard it's not crazy to get to 10 to 4. It's a lot of work. But then that 4 to 0, you're just like, God, dude, that's nuts to get to. And then to see how good these like professional guys are. Mm-hmm. I get to play with a lot. I know a few golfers, and I know Finau and Jason Day, and to see where they're at and like the level that they're at you're like, it's another planet, man. Like that they're on. And so you have more appreciation for it.
You're doing good. 4 handicap. You're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, Nate, you fit in great on this show because Travis drops names all the time.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
And so I'm going to pick up the 2 names you just dropped here.
I'll drop them all day long. You want me to keep going?
I know a big name we're going to get to here in a second. But before we get to your picks, when you think, this obviously is a golf betting show, and Sports Pub Media is big into the golf betting space. Are you much of a golfer? Do you think about the odds every week? Anything like that?
For like PGA, like gambling odds?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll gamble on the course, but I don't, not a crazy ton. I'm starting to get into it a lot more. I actually like golf in that aspect. It is very hard to pick who's going to do good. And like Kevin Na just started off good last week. And so you never know. And there's so many guys that you might not even really know who they are. And then they come out. I mean, everybody's so good. So I'm getting into it more and more, especially now that you can gamble in Tennessee now, and it's legal.
Right.
So I'm looking at it a lot more than I ever did.
Yeah, well, I know FanDuel has just opened up in Tennessee. That's a big deal for you guys. Let's get into the picks with you. I know that you're chomping at the bit to let our viewers and our listeners know just how smart you are when it comes to betting on golf. So let's start with your top 10 pick this week at the American Express Championship. Who do you got?
Top 10. Who has
Paul Casey.
Paul Casey. Yeah, that's what I told you. Paul Casey, because he just like stuck around. I remember watching, what is it? The one where he had his Phil, where they had to play the next day at Pebble. And then like from there, it's like, he just kind of kept like, he's just kind of up there, and he's playing really good. He's about my age. I'm 41. So I think he's around my age. So I like to see him go out, and I think he's just been playing really good. I think he's sneaky and is always just in play.
He also he likes
the approach game. He's got the approach game. Paul Casey, this is a good spot for him because distance is it's going to force your hand these two courses. You got to lay up a little bit more. You can't overpower it. So that's a good play. Casey, get the approach game going. Hot putter week. That's what holds him back. Top 10.
Yeah. Nate, I love getting the Travis Fulton seal of approval on my picks. I swear.
It's
like
he doesn't get my
it does
seal.
feel good, right? It does feel good. All right,
till I get to his winner's pick. That's going to be.
I know he may crush you on your winner's pick. Top 20 pick this week, Nate. Who you taking?
John Augustine out of Vanderbilt. It's his first tournament this year. I've actually become really good friends with John, and where I play is Vanderbilt's home course, and so I know a lot of the Vandy golfers, and we've become really good friends over this quarantine. We got to play a lot, and he's I just see how much he works. I go out with him, and he practices. He's up there every day. He'll let me stay with him for a second until he's like, all right, dude, I'm really doing work. And then he makes me leave. But I try to get like chipping. He tries to teach me chipping, and it's just so hard. He's so good of a chipper. He's going to be one of the best chippers in the world. And it's hard when they try to tell you, because I don't think they know how to tell you. They'll try to he's like, just do this. And I'm like, yeah, dude, no one knows what you're talking about. I don't get it. And it's just like, and so I can't understand. It's like he's just at a level. He's like, but just do that. And I'm like, I don't know. So
my students say to me.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of coaches I do a lot of that lesson where you're like, dude, I don't know I can't wrap my head around this. But I think he's he did really good at the Masters, and he's been waiting for a year to turn pro, and so he's very excited. He's already there, and I just think he's gonna come in and do great.
Yeah, he was a 2019 amateur standout as well. He was a runner-up in 2019 at that tournament. There's so many perks that come out of that, including, as you mentioned, the Masters, which he did very well, making the cut. All right, it's time for Travis to blast you. Give us, Nate Bargatze, your winner this week on the PGA Tour.
Tony Finau. I think Finau needs. He's going to come out. He's going to come in. He's going to win. He needs. He's just always on the cusp of all this, and it's just about breaking through. Great dude, and just a solid golfer. He pounds the ball, and I think he played in this last year too, I believe. And then yeah, I just think I don't. It's a guess, but Finau's he's always up there. He's always up there. But I would love to hear why I'm wrong.
Well, he is always up there.
Yeah.
But he can't get it done. Now, you're talking to one of the biggest Tony Finau fans there is. I love Tony Finau. His coach is a friend of mine, Boyd Summerhays. They are great, great people. I cheer for him. And I have no idea how he didn't win the Waste Management Phoenix Open last year. I have no idea. I still sit here to this day. Now, I may or may not have had a win ticket on. I'm just saying. But that loss at the Waste Management Phoenix Open just crushed me. He finished second. And then the 3M Open, I guaranteed a Finau win. He finished 6th or 8th at the Memorial. He's playing so good. I was like, Finau is going to win the 3M Open, and he finished 3rd. I may or not had a win ticket, but anyway, I love Finau. I hope he wins. For crying out loud, do it. Jim Herman's got 2 more wins than him.
Nate, to make you feel better, if you pick one winner a year, that is more than most handicappers who do it for a living will pick in a year. That's how hard it is to pick a winner. So
yes.
don't even feel bad. Don't even feel bad. Although the first week we did this show, or the second week, Travis picked the winner on this show. And trust me, I told him the minute New Year's Eve hits or New Year's Day hits, you can't brag about it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a solid rule. You got to be all right, dude. Like you had one. He came out of the gate swinging though.
I did. I opened the show with it every single week. Do you remember when I picked the Masters winner last year? I'm 1 for 1 of the Masters in November.
All right, Nate, before we let you get out of here, I want you to tell us, because you are like touring pros, that they were starving and chomping at the bit to get back on tour, and they've been able to do it. What are you most looking forward to in 2021 as far as being able to get back out on the road and do what you do best?
I mean, it's just to get back out. It's just to see that it's going to happen. I mean, I had so many dates. You know, we thought. I know people that moved once all this stuff happened. They moved it last year. They were like, "Oh, we're not going to go back till fall of 21." And I was like, "That's crazy. There's no way." And then now here we are. I mean, I'm probably going to be fall of 21 before we go out. So it's just to get back out and get on the road. I mean, I did some drive-in shows. We performed at drive-in movie theaters, and it was nice just to get out. But it's like we're starting to roll. I mean, I had 100 dates planned last year, and it was like kind of, for me, like starting on this theater tour, like your first kind of real strong theater tour, and I was very excited about it. And so just to get back at it, it's like you feel like you've had a pause in your career, and you just don't want it to. You're always scared that it's going to just go away, and then people move on. So just to get that going again is the main thing. And so I'm excited, and hopefully it'll happen. Hopefully it'll be this fall, and then so we'll see. Also, I want to say with my golf, Travis, I do my line. I line up because of you. You did an Instagram video about lining up, and I tend to close. So I tend to like line up wrong, and you're like, if you line up, if you do that, you talk about going in the ball a little bit with more of an open stance.
Yep.
And so I try that. It's been gone horrible, but I have tried it.
I have that.
I do it, but it sucks.
Congratulations, you're now a 7 handicap.
That's so great. I do it, but I can't do. That's so great. On that note, we're going to let you go. Nate, what a pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure and let people know where they can see you. Nate Land podcast every single week. And then, of course, check him out on Netflix, The Tennessee Kid. And we also understand you got a new special at some point.
Got a new special be coming out. Yes. It should be hopefully coming out in February, March. And then, so I'll announce all that on my social media and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Comedian Nate Bargatze, and a golf lover, which is what we love here at Cash Out with the Coaches. Once again, Nate, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nate.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Big fan.
How cool to have Nate Bargatze on the show. And I guarantee you that when he comes to your town or to my town, that you're going to ask for free tickets. I know you are.
Me?
You'll ask for
I've already asked.
Oh, you've already asked him?
Oh, yeah. I've already asked. Yeah, we've got, I think, like 4th row.
Only you would brag about 4th row.
I said I didn't want to be outside of the 5th row, so he got me inside on the 4th. Right in the middle. It's great too.
Yeah, so, in comedy clubs, there's only 5 rows in comedy clubs.
He's funny, man. I'm telling you.
He was great. The biggest thing I took out of that interview is the fact that he gets to play with John Augustine, and so many times. So last year we had the big 3 coming out. This year, Augustine, you mentioned he mentioned he had to wait for a year. This dude, a lot of people believe, will be a star on the PGA Tour.
Well, he went to Vanderbilt there, right? He was a runner-up at the U.S. Amateur, SEC Player of the Year, made the cut at the Masters back in November. It's going to be fun to watch. You know what I really appreciated about that, though, is he said that when Nate went up to him, was talking to him, he cut him off and said, "All right, man, I got to get to work." Right? Like he didn't let just this conversation continue on. Check your phone. I mean, he was like, "Okay, man, I got to get to work." I like that. I already like this young man. I think he can fill it up with the flat stick too. I think that's kind of his deal. So it's going to be fun to watch and how he does with his debut. I'm sure you probably have got him in your lineup, don't you?
Well, I was going to tell you, if you have any guts, you'll put him in yours. So we'll see. And it's that time of the show.
Maybe I can fit him in here.
Yeah, so you change them up. All right, it is time. And right now I'm on a 2-week winning streak. I feel really good about what I've been doing. I feel really good about my handicapping skills. But as a great man once said, it's all about what you do next. So let's get into it. And for those of you who want to play along with us at home, this is how we do it. And we get all of our lines from mybookie.com. We do 2 tournament matchups. We do a top 20 pick. We do a winner pick. And then we also do a wild card pick. It can be anything on the board. We have our calculations, and it's based off of $100. And then we put a dollar amount on each one of our picks. It's pretty simple. It's a lot of fun. So play along with us at home and tweet us your picks at SportsPub on Twitter. We want to know how you do if you can beat us. All right, let's get started, Mr. Travis Fulton. What do you got in your first tournament matchup?
Let me see. Let me get my notes out here. I got my dual computer system going. We're going the first matchup. Peter Malnati over Cameron Tringali. What if I said to you in 2021 season, the wraparound season, this is the new one now, that Peter Malnati, strokes gained total is 11th on the PGA Tour. He was
I would never have guessed that.
Right. He was 14th last week at the Sony. Didn't play good on Sunday, kind of all over the place. His strength is his putter, beautiful putter on Bermuda greens, and his approach game, right? So you go back to my model and what I was talking about early with the approach game and the putter. He's not very long off the tee. He'll lose strokes off of the tee. This is a perfect venue for Peter Malnati to keep this good play going. You go back to the start of this season, 2nd at Sanderson Farm, 5th at Shriners, 21st at Bermuda, 14th at Sony. You know, the fields are better, right, than we've seen in the past. They're still not these A-plus fields that we see at some other venues. So Peter Malnati's been playing some good golf with some good finishes. I'm going to take him over Cameron Tringali, and I plan on winning this bet at plus 120, excuse me.
It's always nice when you get a plus money bet in our calculations. By the way, Todd Lewis, our good friend from the Golf Channel, he had a great line when he interviewed Peter Malnati after one of his rounds. I think it was the second round when he started the first 6 holes. He was 5 over. And he said the leader in strokes gained attitude.
Yeah, I saw
Malnati.
that.
And he said, what was your biggest difference between yesterday when he shot a 62 and today? He says, the first 6 holes. like
Coach,
deadpan, and then started laughing.
Coach, I got to tell you, okay, so he shot 62 on Thursday, and I had Malnati in my DraftKings lineup. He was tied for the lead going into Friday. He was 6 over. He was 1 shot off the cut line. He went to almost to the cut, and then he rolls off all these birdies, and he ends up 1 shot from the lead. That's how tight they were and how bunched they were at the Sony. It was incredible.
It was great. It was great. And I just love his attitude. And, I wish everybody could be like him. Okay. My first tournament matchup this week, and I'm going to go with a guy that's really been playing well. A lot of people don't pick him yet. I don't think Vegas has caught up with him. And I'm going to take Lanto Griffin because over Ricky Fowler plus 110. And the reason for this, Lanto's playing really good golf. And week in and week out, you're going to see him in the top 20 or top 25. But this is as much, Trav, about Lanto playing well as Ricky not playing well. And so much has been made about the swing changes. And I will believe that he has adjusted when I see him with the top 20 finish several tournaments in a row. I just don't trust him. And I don't think this week, coming out, having not played yet in 2021, this is not going to be the tournament that he just flips the switch and gets back into the Ricky Fowler that we've known that can win on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, it seems that's a good argument. You know, Lanto, I tend to hold a grudge sometimes week to week. I get emotional sometimes, and Lanto really irked me last week. I had him, of course, as my wild card in there in a top 20 bet, and he was just cruising along so nicely. And then he just did enough to kind of hang outside that top 20. But I agree, Lanto, look, his game is rounding nicely into form. He's becoming kind of that next shelf player. I think Ricky, I'm concerned. Yeah, I think too. I think you're accurate. I'm very concerned with Ricky. Wholesale changes. It's going to be really interesting to see how he strikes the golf ball in 2021.
Real quick, yes or no? Is it the most frustrating thing when you have a top 20 ticket and you see your guy in T21 or T22 for the entire weekend? There is nothing more frustrating than that.
There isn't. It takes over my life.
I'm consumed. I'm obsessed. Lanto, make a damn birdie.
Right?
Damn.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if I've said it on this show or not, but I actually once picked Lanto Griffin to win the Houston Open a couple years ago.
That's right. You did say that. You said it last week.
Oh, I did? Don't even remember
Yeah,
that.
you
All right,
did.
your second tournament matchup pick.
I'm going with Matthew Wolff, who's coming out here in California. I think a little bit of a surprise start. Plus 135 over my boy.
I can't believe it. I can't believe the number.
What is
I
like,
had to look twice.
like Matthew like spraying his ankle or something? You know? I mean, I don't understand this. Like, there's always kind of like that one line that you just like, what? I look at this. I kept refreshing. I'm like, I got to go with this. Matthew Wolff plus 135 over Sanjay M, especially after M last week. Of course, M played good at Capitol. I just cannot get it right with him. Early when he came out, I was all over him and he was great. Now I'm just like on the wrong side of him. So I'm carrying it over from last week and I'm going Matthew Wolff plus 135. I think Wolff needed a break, coach. He missed the cut at the Masters. He was a mess. Didn't play good at the Zozo before that. So there was a few weeks there. He just was, I think, needed to kind of like take a break, get away from it, go back, work with his coach, George Gankis. And I think now we're going to see him come out. He'll be re-energized and play the kind of golf that we were seeing this summer. I was blown away by the growth of Matthew Wolff last year, second at the U.S. Open, fourth at the PGA. He became a top shelf player. He's not going to get the most out of his length here, but I think his approach game just continues to get better. And I like these particular greens for him at plus 135. Come on, Matthew Wolff is way too good of a player to pass up on that over Sanjay.
Yeah, my metrics have this way closer to an even matchup than getting 35. For a lot of people who are brand new to golf betting that may be watching the show, the second most frustrating thing in golf betting is when you continue to bet on a guy and no matter which way you bet on him, you always lose. Last week, that was Billy Horschel for me.
Mm-hmm.
Round by round, I'm picking against him, and then I pick on him, and then that's the one round that he shoots a 70. So thank you, Billy Horschel. Not really. All right, my second tournament matchup bet. Just because I felt I wanted to be a little bit squirrely. I just wanted to stick it in just a little bit. So I'm going to go with Sanjay M.
What?
On my side, minus 115 over Tony Finau. Now, this is as much about you as this is about me being confident in Sanjay M. But also, I'm just starting to fade Tony Finau every single chance I get. Yeah. I don't believe that he's even close to a win on the PGA Tour. And every week, he's having one big round that sets him back. And I don't believe this is going to be the week that he changes that. So give me a hot player who's played every single week since 2017, and I'll take Sanjay M minus 115.
Hey, Tony Finau, 31st at the Tournament of Champions. Approach game, not good. Putting, not good. Yeah, I agree. It'll be Finau. God, he felt like he had his time there, right? I was saying earlier with Nate, like he was playing so good. Waste management, right there at the 3M and just, hey, he's finishing second and third, but you're just trying to push him into that second win so badly. And I still have no idea how he lost at Phoenix. But anyway, Sanjay is likely to shoot in the 80s this week. So I don't like that.
I definitely feel like that's coming. Okay. Your next pick, let's go with our top 20 pick. Who do you like top 20 finish this week?
Who is my top 20 this week? I can't remember.
Did I go with Abraham Answer?
No. Abraham Answer. I've spent a lot of time looking at Abraham Answer. And, like the President's Cup, we were ready to put him as the next number one player, right? And then Tiger kind of beat him down. And you look at Answer's game, I think it did go away there for a while. I think it took him a while to kind of get back his feet underneath him again. His bugaboo is around the greens. He can struggle in a short game. I think the short game is so far down the list at these courses than any other course on the PGA Tour, right? And you hear me talk about it here a lot, Coach. There's some courses the short game matters, but this one here, it's way down. So horses.
What do you think? What do you think is the number one metric this week?
Well, there's no rough. Number one, the greens are flat. Okay. Right. I mean, there's not a lot of movement here. I mean, I think the green complexes are, there's just not a lot of, difficult shots in comparison than you're going to see on other venues on the PGA Tour. Right now, they might be difficult to you and I, but in comparison to the ball sitting down in deep Bermuda at TPC Sawgrass to a pin that's kind of to a pin that's sitting on a shelf that's going this way. Then you get on a relatively flat green, the ball's sitting up, you can spin it. I mean, it's just a lot easier. So I think it kind of levels the playing field. So I think this is a good spot for him. I do see some things trending for him now. I think his approach game is getting back on point. I think the putter's getting back on point. There's little lulls here and there, but all in all, I like where Abraham Ancer is going. And he finished second here last year, T18 back in 2019. So he clearly likes it here. So I'm going with Ancer at plus 100, top 20.
I feel like you're making up a lot of reasons to try to convince yourself that this is a good pick. I don't feel like you have a lot of confidence.
Well, I felt really good about this pick 24 hours ago, but I do this. Right?
You get in your own head. You get in your own head.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what? And what it came down to is like, just trust. Just go back to your model. It's been pretty good for you. Stay with it.
Model. You and that damn model. One of these days, that model's going to show up on the show. I mean, I thought she wasn't real. All right. All right. My top 20 pick. I've got plus money this week. And when I look at the metrics and I look at the last few years, and who has played really well on these courses at this particular tournament, one name jumped off the screen, and that is Sam Burns.
Sammy.
Now, he has not figured out how to put it all together yet on the PGA Tour. But you talk about raw talent. Mm-hmm. He's got a ton of raw talent. And you give me plus money for a top 20 pick, and this is all I need out of Sam Burns, I'll take this all the way to the pay window. What do you make of my pick from Sam Burns?
I like it. I like Sam Burns. I think it's a good pick at plus 220. I was looking at that, and that was one of the guys that I was thinking about moving to, but then, again, the model took over, and Ancer was slightly above Burns. So, anyway, but I like that pick. I think that's a very good pick. Sam Burns can fill it up.
Oh, he can. Hopefully he fills it up this week. All right, let's go to our – what are we going to do now, Cody? Winner or wild card? Winner. Tournament winners. All right, who do you got this week? Because we both came close last week. You came closer than I did.
Yeah. T21 on a top 20 or a second on a win ticket. My goodness.
Wow.
Joaquin Neiman.
That would have shot you so far ahead of me. I don't know if I could have caught up to you.
Yeah, and I had some real money on him too. That would have been a nice little paycheck there. But sometimes you finish second. So this week, we're going to first. The winner of the American Express Championship is Brooks Koepka. Perhaps you've heard of him.
I've heard that he's not a bad golfer.
Now, one of the reasons here that you've seen winners like we've seen in the past here is because the field isn't as strong, right? Now, the field's a little bit stronger this year. There were two players in the top 10. One of them has since withdrawn, Jon Rahm, which puts the equity even more into a player like Brooks Koepka. Look, I expect Koepka to be fully motivated in 2021. Trust me, it's not sitting well seeing DJ at number one in the world right now with Brooks Koepka. I expect Brooks Koepka to be healthy in 2021. And I expect Brooks Koepka to get things started here early. I mean, he finished seventh at the Masters and was kind of hobbling around, So I think he's healthy. I think he's motivated. He's coming to this venue for the first time. It's a weak field. He's clearly one of the best players in the world. And I look for him to come out and put some things together with the approach game and take advantage of these greens and start filling it up. So I was going to go with my pick that I picked in the top 20. But as I looked a little bit closer to it, Koepka's the class here, right? I mean, if he gets back anywhere near where he was, good odds on him at plus 2,100. I felt this is the week to roll the dice on a new venue for Koepka to come back healthy and motivated and get that eighth win. You know his last win, Coach? His last win was in 2019 at the WGC FedEx.
We forget about that. And that was, I think he was wasn't he battling Rory that particular tournament? And he kind of put his foot down and says, Rory, you're not that, I believe. And he has some stuff to say that time too. I don't mind this pick. I think that the only thing I'm concerned about is a slow start from Brooks because he hasn't been out there. This is his first start. And is he going to come out and shoot around even par and then be 7 or 8 shots back after the first round? That's the only thing that concerns me because once he gets those juices flowing, he's a great athlete and all that stuff starts
That's
to
a fair point. Yeah, we need a 4 under. Let's go 4 under on Thursday and then go.
Okay. So what I did, I was messing around a little bit, and I sent Cody my picks. And then I said, you know what? Live on the show, I'm going to call in the lefty or the righty. I don't know which one he is. But I did have, look what I sent Cody as my tournament winner. This is what I thought when I was putting it in, John Rahm. But I know that he had to withdraw, and that's why there was no odds on him. But I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay. But yet, I didn't want to tell you that before I sent my picks in because I like to mess with you a little bit. So I'm taking Patrick Cantlay because I believe his game is right. We know he's been playing well. He's one of the betting favorites in this tournament.
Of course he is. You picked him to win.
Plus 1,200. So I think that he is the one player, Trav, that benefits from no fans or very little fans because he's not a social butterfly. He's not a guy that likes to feed off the fans, or I don't believe he is. And I think coming in and you do a 36-hole cut, you do on really easy greens, approaches is the way it is, and the putting is the way that it is. To me, all of that speaks to a Patrick Cantlay W come Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it was T9 2 years ago right here. So not surprising. You went from one tournament favorite, withdrew, then you just went down the list to the next. That's some really strong handicapping you got going on over there.
Are you from the man that's literally in my rearview mirror right now? You're going to get on me when you're in my rearview mirror?
Slightly.
Right now? Slightly. Okay, that's fine. I appreciate you have to be able to talk trash. If you don't talk trash, you're not Travis Fulton. So I respect it.
Yeah,
it's a good pick. Accept it.
It's a good pick. Cantlay. Koepka Cantlay final group. Let's do it on Sunday.
Wouldn't that be great?
Let's do it.
There wouldn't be any text messages going back and forth at all. Okay, it's time for our wild card pick, and this can be anything on the board that you want. Where are you going this week?
Well, Scotty Scheffler, the rookie of the year last year, 13th at the Tournament of Champions. I didn't like the way he hit the ball there. Lost strokes in the approach game. Putted pretty good. So I called his coach. Randy Smith. And we did the podcast, right? Which is going to launch tomorrow. Stripe Show podcast with Randy Smith, coach to Ryan Palmer, who finished second at Sony, and coach to Scotty Scheffler, who finished 13th, the rookie of the year. Great start. Great guy. Really good conversation. And there was a couple things that needed to clean up there a little bit with the swing, particularly the club face. He tends to get the face open, and then he kind of starts to fan it. So they had to get the face a little more closed, and they feel good about it. He finished third here last year. It's interesting, like these courses sometimes, distance is going to be equalized a little bit more, right? But distance still has some value here. I mean, there's the par fives. They're hitting shorter clubs to lay up. And no question, these forced layups are going to neutralize some things. But it doesn't mean that a Scotty Scheffler can't play here. It doesn't mean that a Brooks Koepka can't play here. It doesn't mean that a Patrick Cantlay, I mean, these are the favorite, right? Can't play here. They have a good approach game too. Scheffler can go, and he can make some putts, and he can make some birdies. So I like Scheffler. I was so impressed with him last year. I think he needed a little bit of work, and I think he got it with the swing. He's going back to a place that he loves. And you just get the feeling with Scheffler that when he gets going, he just goes. He can go low. And you know what I like the most about him, Coach? You know what the most I like about Scheffler?
Who's that?
He can look like he's shooting 77 and he posts 68.
That takes a special kind of golfer to be able to do that. It really does.
Yeah. So I like him in top 20.
To your point, I don't remember who was calling his 59 on PGA Tour Live when he had it. It may have been me. To your point of shooting low. However, he just got married. And what did we see from Kevin Na on Sunday? What did he say right after he won?
Don't go there.
Don't go what? Was him being a half? I'm backing up your pick. I'm just doing it in a roundabout way. So Scotty Scheffler just got married. He went on his honeymoon to Hawaii when he played in the Tournament of Champions. So that's now back in the rear view. He's laser focused now that all the lovey-dovey stuff is over. And I think this is a good pick. Where'd you think I was going?
I didn't know that. I'm surprised. Thank you. I'm still waiting. Is there something like
I was going to say that
what's coming up next?
No, Kevin Na said, I have a happy home life. I'm happy at home. And that's what has made me play so well in the PGA Tour. I think Scotty Scheffler is in that same boat. All right, finally, my wild card pick. And then we've got two final topics that I want to get into with Travis.
You got to be kidding me.
I always have a theme every week, and all I want to do is make you laugh and win golf bets. I'm going Sanjay M. To me, this is an absolute lock. I don't see how he would finish outside the top 10. However, my plan is to slowly but surely stack up money. And if I'm going to do that, the safe bet is to take a little bit lower odds and do a top 20 instead of higher odds and doing a top 10. There's a big difference there. So that's why I'm going to go top 20. Sanjay, give him to me at minus 110.
Sung Jai or Sung Jae?
Either way, he plays every week. So we could say it one way 1 week and another way the next week. I think it's Sanjay. What did I say? Sanjay? I think it's Sanjay M, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. All right. 2 quick topics that I want to get into, and then we're going to get out of here. First, so much was made in the golf world this week of the fact that there's video or pictures, and they've admitted to being in the same space, Jordan Spieth and Butch Harmon. They say it's just to give him his opinion. What do you make as a top coach of Jordan Spieth, who's been with one coach his entire career since he was a young kid, and now bringing in the eyes of Butch Harmon?
Well, I've said it. I said it a while back. I think Jordan Spieth needs to make a change. I mean, he's been doing the same thing. Admitted that he was working on the wrong things for a year. I don't think he's handled it very well. You know, he goes to get supposedly another set of eyes with Butch. You know, I don't know. Look, if hopefully it works out for him. I miss Spieth. I hope he gets back. But I think he needs a clean slate. I think he needs to, go with Butch or whoever more full time and go about it that way. I mean, things get stale. They had a great run, with Cameron. He's a great coach. Jordan's a great player. They had a nice run, but clearly 3 years, that's a lot of runway. And, to kind of just a little olive branch in, maybe, it's like, come on, just take ownership of what's going on. Butch will give you some right things to work on. Self-discover, build some confidence. Let's go.
And you wonder if on any level, and again, I don't know any of what I'm getting ready to say to be true, but we've seen coaches in the past, and you're one of the few coaches that actually can do TV and do podcasting at a very, very high level. But Cameron now has had offers the last couple of years, and we've seen him in different projects outside of coaching Jordan Spieth. And a lot of coaches have capitalized on their relationships with big players like Hank Haney did, turn that into a multi-million-dollar a year business. And you wonder if maybe behind closed doors, there's been some issues there that maybe he's been so busy working on his own projects that he doesn't have enough time for Jordan Spieth. I don't know, but on the outside, he's doing a lot of extra things. Is all I'm saying.
No, it's true. I think those are valid points. My gut is no. I think Cameron's very, very dedicated to Jordan, and they've been a great team. I mean, the run they had was incredible, Coach. And sometimes you take these stances and it comes across like, well, you're just, you're taking a shot at something. I'm not. It's just the way that I feel and what I'm seeing based off of the performance of Jordan Spieth. We're not talking for 2 months. We're talking 3 years, right? He's just falling down the official World Golf rankings. I still think it's there. I think he needs a second opinion, and I think he needs to move in that direction wholeheartedly and get some things, moving the right way so he can build confidence and start piecing this thing together. Because it's not going to be just, oh, I've got it, and here I go. He's got to rebuild this a little bit. I think not just swing wise, but also from a confidence standpoint and building off of good events and one by one.
And clearly he's waiting to institute this because he hasn't put himself in any of these early tournaments yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you wonder if he's not even comfortable with the changes that Butch told him he needs to make. I don't know.
This feels like a good spot for him, doesn't it? You don't have to hit the driver as much.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. Here and Phoenix are perfect for him, but he's not in the field this week. So we'll see when he is going to. I would assume he's going to. American Express is was one of his big sponsors.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he come to the American Express Championship? So I don't know. I don't know. But we all want Jordan Spieth back to the level.
Yes, we do.
All right. Finally, Sports Pub, incredible partners. And
yes.
They've just been awesome to work with. You've got another podcast that is starting, the Sports Pub podcast.
Yeah.
And you've got some incredible guests lined up.
It's just amazing. I mean, week one, we had Billy Kratzert on. Incredible stories. I just did the podcast today with Lanny Watkins, and I can't wait for you to hear it. I mean, he is absolutely amazing on this podcast. It'll come out next week, Sports Pub podcast. And of course, Sports Pub, hey, we're in the business of sports gambling.
Yeah.
And Lanny Watkins, let me tell you something. He was the chairman of the Tuesday game on tour. Okay. He was the man when it came down to these Tuesday games. It was fascinating, Coach, to listen to the stories about these games. Him and Arnie, Tom Watson, Hale Irwin, Jack Nicklaus, just fascinating. I mean, just
all those guys played in money games.
Oh yeah, all these Hall of Famers. I'm just like, and he's telling these stories about these games. There were times, major championships, they played money games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to it, like 36 holes. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. You've got to listen to it. It'll launch next week. Next week, I believe on Wednesday, Sports Pub podcast.
All right. And if you guys know anything about Travis's social media on Instagram or Twitter, you won't know anything about it. You won't know anything about it. You won't even know that it's out. You won't even know it's out. He doesn't promote himself at all. And I'm here for it. That's why we connect so well. All right. Real quick, let's recap our picks before we get out of here. Our matchups for Travis. He likes Malnati over Tringali, Wolf over M, top 20, Abraham Answer. Your winner is Brooks Koepka. And Scotty Scheffler, top 10, plus 160 is your wild card. And my matchups, Lotto Griffin over Ricky Fowler, Sun Jai M over Tony Finau. Top 20, I'm going to go with Sam Burns. My winner, I'm going to go Patrick Cantlay. And my wild card, top 20 pick, once again, Sun Jai M. Travis, let's have a good week.
Yeah, man.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. Remember, let's take all these picks straight to the pay window. And this is the only place every single week that you too can cash out with the coaches. Good luck.